From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on Lalate.
Hey, good afternoon. And Noontime wraps with this final recording. SSI, SSDI, $2,400 a month, your third stimulus check. Your $14 third stimulus check bill will be called for a vote today, and that vote will conclude tomorrow. The bill will become a law as early as the end of tomorrow as it goes back to the House, and signed by the President of the United States. It does not have a SSI $200 provision in there. We all know that. If you're on SSI and SSDI, you'll get the stimulus check, and you'll also be eligible for up to $5,000 of other money. I'll go over that in this recording as well. But the incredible great news comes from Elizabeth Warren, who's now setting in place the path to get SSI and SSDI as a standalone bill. And even if she wasn't, I'm going to explain in this recording how you can do it as well with a push for executive order. All this exciting news and the exciting news about forced stimulus, how brokering for relief is the new push from Democrats against Democrats. All the incredible great news starts right now with Afternoons Lalate. It's the final hour across the country as Noontime Lalate wraps up. We're 30 minutes away from the kickoff of Afternoons Lalate. Noontime's heating up as the push for your SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits got a major breaking development of great news on Monday. And even if we didn't have that great news, we had other great news coming midweek from Democrats that said, you know what, when we go to do the next bill, which is forced stimulus, which is just a few weeks away, we're going to start making demands because we can do that because you have to get all Democrats to vote for the next bill. Otherwise, the president won't be able to pass it. This is incredible great news as I see Connie and Mr. Dale and Gunnar and Doreen in the room. And there's Angela and Nancy and there's Ira and there's Christine and there's Gunnar. What page is the business grant for the restaurant? It's towards the back. You want to do a search for EIDL, and then it's just a page after that. How are you? This is a quick recording, the standalone show about SSI and SSDI. Let me explain what's going on. During the campaign trail for President, Elizabeth Warren was the person who brainstormed, came up with the whole SSI and SSDI. It was not the President of the United States, it was Elizabeth Warren. $200 a month on top of your existing benefits for 12 months. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. Great news number one is that the economic data out today suggests that we're not out of this pandemic in 2 months. We may not be out of this pandemic for 18 months. There's less than 500, there were 375,000 jobs created in the month of February. There's 8 million less jobs in the country than a year ago. You can do the math. If you did 500,000 new job creations per month, it would take 17 months to wear out of this pandemic for job creation. Translation, there's still a lot of stimulus up ahead of us. So that's item number one. That's good news, is that we're not at the end of stimulus. We are just getting started. That's number one. Number two, while the $14 third stimulus check bill will become a law this weekend and does not have SSI and SSDI in it, if you're on SSDI and SSDI, this is what you're getting. You're getting a $14 stimulus check. You're also getting up to about $5,000 additional. Every viewer on SSI who makes less than $45,000 may qualify for rent if you're behind on rent, utilities, food, and internet. That's about $5,000. That's in addition to the $14 stimulus check. How do you get it? Don't worry. Just stay with me, because over the next few weeks, when these programs go live, or ahead of them going live, we're going to pounce as Purple Hawks. Hit that subscribe button right now, because it's first come, first serve for these other items. You don't want to be behind the stimulus stampede. You want to be ahead of it. But how about the SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits add-on of $200 a month? Well, Elizabeth Warren, on her campaign trail, came up with the idea. She came up with the idea and the 20% and the new benchmark. She came up with the idea. She, in 2020, spring of 2020, introduced it as a bill. So the idea was actually a bill. She introduced it to the Senate. Chuck Schumer co-signed it. Now, obviously, as you sit here right now, you would say, well, that's sort of obvious. Just take the bill again and reintroduce it to the Senate. Just change the date. It's very obvious. She could do it tomorrow. She could literally do it tomorrow if you pushed hard enough. Push her really hard and say, just reintroduce the bill. The reason it didn't pass last year is because of Mitch McConnell. He didn't call for a vote. Chuck Schumer co-signed it. He loved it. Pretty easy. Just reintroduce the bill. But here comes the question. How do you pay for the bill? Where does the money come from the bill? Where do you get the money for the bill? There's a lot of different opinions about where the money could come from. Some opinions say you could do it by executive order. Some opinions say you can't do it by executive order. Thank you, Arnetta. Thank you for becoming a Purple Hawk. The details are that Elizabeth Warren, while on the campaign trail, said she would pay for it with a wealth tax. That's what she said. And the incredible great news is that she said the wealth tax would pay for the SSI and SSDI. That's what she said on the campaign trail. Guess what she did on Monday? She introduced a wealth tax bill, which generates $2.75 trillion for the U.S. economy. Now, I want to say something sort of obvious, which I think you sort of know yourself. It's not her money. It's $2.75 trillion. So it's not her money to say what she can use her money for. She introduces a bill for $2.75 trillion. Let's say 2 months from now, she just is a different person, says, I want to use all the money to build museums for myself. What the hell happened to Elizabeth Warren? She wants to build for museums. It doesn't matter. It's not her money. It's the federal government's money. So some people are saying, well, she doesn't want it's not her money to use. But she said that it's to pay for programs like SSI and SSDI during the campaign for president. Now, even if she didn't say what she wants to use the money for, now you got the vehicle to use the money. It's just like, she doesn't want to use the money anymore for that. She wants to use it for, parks and cows. I don't, there's always some confusion out there. So don't worry about that. This is incredible great news. This is incredible great news as finally the vehicle to pay for it has been introduced to the Senate. And as you saw in the video right before this, she has 50% of all people polled in a new report out of Massachusetts that support it as well. Thank you, Cleon Roberts, for becoming a member. If you've not subscribed, today is the day to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now. Why? I'm live for 6 hours a day. I'm delivering you news across the board. I'm showing you how to financially be stable in 2020. You're not going to be tracking checks. You're going to be cashing checks ahead of time. You're not going to be dependent upon one check and the date that one check comes. You're going to be grabbing checks ahead of time so that you are financially stable. You're not going to sit around and chase, let's say, FPUC Retro, and be dependent upon FPUC Retro when you could have gotten a PPP grant for $5,000. That's how you're going to deal with 2021 with me together, this family. Now, the big news about SSI and SSDI, of course, is where else could that money come from? Well, the president can do executive orders. Last week, I asked viewers, where do you think it should come from? Do you think SSI and SSDI should be a bill or an executive order? And 100% of the viewers in the chat said executive order. What do you think right now? You're in the chat. I see Mike, I see Bonnie, I see Jenny, I see Janice, I see Debbie, I see Diana. What do you think? I'll ask the question again. Do you think SSI and SSDI should be a bill or executive order? I think it could be executive order. Increasing benefits for 1 year. That's no different than increasing SNAP for 1 year. The president is by executive order on January 20th. Tying benefits to something other than COLA, tying it to CPIE. That sounds like what he did with SNAP. He made SNAP national. I think it could be executive order. Brittany says executive order. Mr. Dale, Jacqueline, Gunnar, Janice, Myra, Shay, Teresa, Frida, Diane, Bradford, Robbie, Margaret, Philip, Scott, Jenny, everyone say executive order. I think it should be executive order. I think it's just so obvious. I just think it's so obvious. You know, one of the things I say all the time, and I don't want to diminish anyone, is that $2,400 for people on benefits is not a big financial burden on the federal government. It's not something that needs $2.75 trillion over 10 years. I mean, $2.75 trillion over 10 years is just, you know, that's overkill for SSI, SSDI of $200 a month. It doesn't need that type of money. It does pay for it, but you don't need that much money for it. So it's sort of obvious. Now, this is what I want you to understand. Who would have known how different this Congress would have been just a week ago? Let me explain what's happening. Forced stimulus is 2 feet out the door. It's coming in the door right away because it's about May. The new jobs numbers today from Wall Street, not good enough. Sharon, thank you for the dancing pair. The new jobs numbers show that we may not be out of this job problem for over a year. That means not fourth, but fifth, sixth, seventh stimulus as well. Translation? Democrats are already saying, you know what? We're going to start demanding things because the next stimulus packages will have to go by reconciliation as well. And every time there's a reconciliation bill, we're going to start making demands because we gave you the 50 votes this time because we wanted you to come in and get something out the door. You got it out the door. You got the third stimulus check bill done. But the next time, guess what? Multiple stimulus checks. Guess what? FPUC retro. Guess what? SSI and SSDI can be the next guess what as well. It only requires 1, 2, 3, 4 Democratic senators to say, include SSI in the next fourth stimulus bill, or we're not giving you the votes. It only takes 1 Democratic senator to be the holdout vote. Now imagine if you have 3 or 4, you're done. That's how easy it is by bill. Viewers just said, I'd rather do it by executive order. I would too. Now, one of the viewers in the video before me asked this question, so I want to answer as well. Are people on SSI going to get the fourth stimulus check? Absolutely. Fifth? Absolutely. All these stimulus checks are the same. Everyone gets them. And under third stimulus, you qualify for rent, utilities, food, and internet and more if you're behind that as well. Don't understand that? Join me for purple, which is in about 2 hours from now. We're at the top of the hour, and we're going right into afternoons LA. 4 more shows for today. Headline news, the latest updates about the vote. Then we go into street and stimulus, then more about Warren, and then purple. 4 more shows, a big day. I'm really excited for you. So much development, so much exciting news. Wall Street is just closed. Stay with Lalate for more.